My dear friend, there was a chilly early winter morning with the wind rustling through the trees outside my clinic window. Mr. Thomas, 67 years old, a patient who has been with me for nearly 8 years, walked in, his face filled with worry. He had just returned from a cardiologist appointment carrying a diagnosis high risk of coronary artery disease. "I don't understand, William," he said, his voice low. "I've been managing my diabetes fairly well, eating carefully. Why is my heart being affected?" I looked at him and gently replied, "Thomas, the truth is this doesn't surprise me, because diabetes and the heart have been walking the same path for a long time. It's just that many people don't realize it." Have you ever asked yourself that question? If you're living with diabetes and you're over 50, then your heart deserves more attention than ever before, because the damage from high blood sugar doesn't stop at lab results. It quietly seeps into every blood vessel, every silent beat of your heart. I've met many people like Mr. Thomas, people who live healthily, take their medication regularly, and believe that's enough. But then one day they discover their heart has been weary for a long time, only no one noticed. You see, the heart doesn't speak in words. It sighs through fatigue, through slower footsteps, or nights where sleep no longer feels deep. And if we don't listen, one day it will knock on our door with chest pain, a hospital visit, or worse, without time to turn back. Today, I want to have a gentle yet deeply important conversation with you. Why does diabetes silently damage the heart? And after 50, how can you protect this quiet companion, your very own heart? No fear, no judgment, just understanding and a few slow but hopeful steps forward. Are you ready? Then let's begin from the heart. My dear friend, I want you to imagine this. Your heart, an organ that never rests, is constantly pumping blood day and night. It's like the most dedicated worker in your entire body, working 24/7, never asking for a vacation, never complaining. But if there's one thing that makes your heart's job more difficult, it's diabetes. I remember one of my longtime patients, Mrs. Lorraine, 70 years old, once asked me during a follow-up appointment, "Doctor, I thought diabetes only affected my blood sugar. Why is my cardiologist telling me my heart is in trouble?" I held her hand and said, "Lorraine, diabetes isn't just about sugar in the blood. It's about your blood vessels throughout your entire body, especially the ones that nourish your heart." Have you ever heard of the term diabetic heart disease? In medicine, we call it diabetic cardiomyopathy, a condition where the heart muscle is damaged simply from having diabetes over time, even if you've never had a heart attack or valve disease. Yes, just living with diabetes for many years can silently weaken your heart. Why is that? Think of high blood sugar as a strong corrosive stream. It damages the endothelium, the delicate lining inside your blood vessels, which acts like a protective gatekeeper for your cardiovascular system. When this lining is injured, your blood vessels become stiff, thickened, and lose their natural elasticity. And that's when cholesterol, plaque, and inflammation start to build up, leading to atherosclerosis, the root of high blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. I had a patient, Mr. Joseph, 66, who had been living with type 2 diabetes for nearly 15 years. When he first came to see me, he said he felt fine. No chest pain, no clear signs of fatigue. But when we did an echocardiogram and further tests, we saw his heart had already begun to enlarge and the muscle was starting to weaken. "Doctor," he asked, "how come I didn't feel anything?" And I told him the same thing I want to share with you today, because the heart doesn't scream. It only whispers. And if we don't listen, by the time we notice, it may already be too late. High blood sugar also increases oxidative stress, meaning your body produces more waste molecules than it can handle. These toxic molecules attack the heart, liver, kidneys, and especially the cells of the heart muscle. Over time, this weakens the heart's ability to contract and pump properly, even if you've never had coronary artery disease. Diabetes also affects your autonomic nervous system, the system that controls your heart rate, blood pressure, and vessel tone. Have you ever felt your heart suddenly racing or felt lightheaded when standing up? Or maybe your heart skipped a beat? That could be a sign of autonomic neuropathy, a serious but often overlooked complication in long-term diabetes. And let's not forget about diabetes' close friends: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, excess weight, and fatty liver. Each one of them slowly chips away at your heart day by day. The saddest part, many people only realize their heart is tired after a crisis, chest pain, a trip to the ER, or even being revived in the ICU. My friend, I don't share these things to scare you. I share them so you can see a simple but important truth. Diabetes is not just a sugar problem, it's a cardiovascular story. But the good news is we are not powerless. If you listen to your body, if you get regular checkups, if you treat your heart like a beloved companion, you can slow down, even reverse some of that damage. It could start with a light morning walk, a low-carb meal full of greens, a quick check of your blood pressure or glucose levels, or even a heartfelt conversation with your cardiologist. I often tell my patients, caring for your heart isn't just for people who've had a heart attack. It's for all of us who still want to live fully. And if you're living with diabetes and you're over 50, your heart, no matter how weary, still deserves to be loved, protected, and restored. My dear friend, one morning in early winter with the cold breeze rustling the trees outside my clinic, I asked one of my patients, Mr. Bernard, 67 years old, a retired civil engineer, if your heart were a machine, what kind would it be? He chuckled and said, it's a hydraulic pump. Works day and night, just blood in, blood out. That's it. And you know what? He wasn't wrong. Biologically speaking, the heart is a pump, an incredible engine that pushes blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body, beating over 100,000 times each day. It never rests, it never complains, never. But you know something. After the age of 50, the heart becomes more than just a machine. It becomes a living memory, a silent journal of the years you have endured. The tired afternoons, the quiet moments after tough phone calls, or the hopeful mornings shared with family over a warm cup of tea. Every heartbeat after 50 isn't just biology. It's a continuation of everything and everyone you've ever loved. Have you ever felt that? Maybe one afternoon your heart started racing not from running, but from the joy of hearing your daughter's expecting a child. Or perhaps you've woken in the middle of the night with a strange weight in your chest, not from any bad news, not from fear, just something heavy unspoken. That isn't random, because after all these years, your heart has memories of its own. And if you're living with diabetes past the age of 50, you're carrying a heart that needs more than medicine. It needs to be heard. It needs healing through knowledge and through gentleness. I once treated Mrs. June, 72 years old, with type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. She was consistent with her meds, watched her diet, but always felt tired, as if her heart no longer wanted to cooperate. We ran tests in EKG and echocardiogram, and the results came back only slightly abnormal. Nothing urgent, nothing alarming. But I didn't stop there. I asked her, June, have you been sad lately or worried about something? She went silent, then burst into tears. Her husband had passed away 4 months ago. Since then, she hadn't been sleeping well. She startled awake at night, and every morning she said her heart felt like it had lost its will. My friend, that's something medicine often forgets. The heart can break from sorrow. Modern science confirms this. Emotions, especially long-term stress, anxiety, or depression, can alter your heart rate, raise your blood pressure, and increase cortisol and adrenaline. These changes raise blood sugar, damage blood vessels, and wear the heart down faster. Which means, if you're living with diabetes after 50 and you're often sleepless, worried, or lonely, your heart isn't just beating for your body. It's beating in isolation. And no medication can heal loneliness. But there's one thing I've learned after years of being a doctor. The human heart, when truly heard and loved, can recover more powerfully than any other part of the body, as long as you don't ignore it. You don't have to be a specialist. You don't have to do anything grand. You just need to take one small moment each day. Step back, breathe in deeply, place your hand over your chest, and gently ask, how is my heart feeling today? Maybe it's tired. Maybe it's afraid. Maybe it just needs a little kindness. And you, someone who has lived through more than half a lifetime, are the only one who truly knows what it needs. Are you ready? Let's keep going. Not out of fear, but to understand more deeply who we are and the heart that has carried us this far. My dear friend, by now I believe you've come to understand something essential. That the heart, especially when you're living with diabetes after the age of 50, is no longer just a blood-pumping organ. It is the center of emotion, the keeper of your life's memories, and often the first to speak up when something in you falls out of balance. So the question becomes, what can we do to protect this precious heart? I'd like you to picture this. A small garden blooming beautifully, not because it's forced to, not because it's showered with strong chemicals, but because someone lovingly tends to it every day, gently, patiently, with care. Your heart is just like that garden. Over the years of working with thousands of people, over 50 who live with diabetes, I've realized the key to protecting your heart doesn't lie in grand changes, but in the small, consistent, loving things you do each day. I remember Mrs. Lorraine, 70 years old, who was hesitant when I suggested gentle exercise. She said, "Walking hurts my knees. Yoga makes me dizzy. Doctor, I don't think my heart can handle it." I didn't argue. I simply asked, "Can you walk around your garden for 5 minutes each morning? No need to rush, just walk." She nodded, and slowly she went from 5 minutes to 7, then 10. 6 months later, her blood sugar stabilized, her blood pressure dropped, and she told me, "Now each morning I step outside not to exercise, but to breathe, to look at the plants. And my heart feels lighter." You see, caring for your heart doesn't have to mean intense workouts. Sometimes it simply means the way you treat yourself. So today I want to offer you 5 gentle steps, things you can begin right now to protect your heart while living with diabetes. First, learn to breathe properly. Did you know that just 5 minutes a day, sitting still, closing your eyes, placing your hand on your chest and breathing deeply can help your heart slow down, lower your blood pressure, and ease stress hormones like cortisol? Science calls this activating the parasympathetic nervous system. I simply call it coming home to yourself. Second, eat slowly and eat real food. The heart isn't just scared of fat and sugar, it's afraid of haste. When you eat quickly, your blood sugar spikes. When you consume too many processed foods, sodium trans fats, your heart has to work overtime. Choose greens, fatty fish nuts, and fresh fruits. And eat as if you're grateful for every bite. Third, move in ways that are kind to your joints and your heart. You don't need to run. You don't need to cycle for hours. Just step outside into the sunlight each morning. Walk for 10 minutes or stretch. Gently reach up, roll your shoulders, rotate your wrists. That's already a signal to your heart that you care. Fourth, protect your sleep like you protect your heartbeat. Poor or insufficient sleep increases the risk of high blood pressure, abnormal lipids, and insulin resistance. So turn off your phone an hour before bed. Sip warm tea. Listen to soft music. Let your heart know night is for healing, not for fighting. Finally, don't let your heart be lonely. You can live alone, but don't live in isolation. Call an old friend, join a yoga class, become part of a local group. Share your worries with a doctor or with someone you trust. The heart doesn't fear illness, it fears being forgotten. My dear friend, I'm not asking you to change your entire life after one video. I'm only asking that tomorrow morning, you wake up, place your hand over your heart, and ask one gentle question. What is one small thing I can do today to help you feel stronger? Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's a healthy breakfast. Maybe it's just 5 quiet minutes of deep breathing. Because you deserve a heart that is not just healthy, but also at peace. No matter how many years have passed, no matter if you live with diabetes, no matter if you're 50, 60, or even 75, it is never too late to begin this journey. Dear friend, if you've made it to this part of the video, I believe something in you is stirring, maybe a quiet worry, a gentle confusion, or simply a small question echoing deep inside. Is my heart still strong enough? I understand that feeling because I've heard it countless times from hundreds of patients over my 30 years of practice. Some came to me after a tightness in their chest. Some arrived feeling lost after a new diabetes diagnosis. And some felt nothing at all until one day their heart spoke up through a fatigue they couldn't quite name. You see, the heart doesn't scream, it whispers. And when we don't listen, it grows silent but still wounded. But today, if you're still here listening to this message, then maybe you've already started listening. And that, my friend, is something beautiful. Because caring for the heart after 50 isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the road you have traveled. Your heart has carried you through sleepless nights, heavy thoughts, disappointments, and the tender beauty of loving deeply. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs your attention. Every gentle walk, every mindful meal, every time you choose rest over worry, those small acts are already part of healing. I once had a patient, Mr. Mason, 76, who told me something I'll never forget. "Doctor," he said, "I used to think I survived my heart attack because of surgery. But now I believe what keeps me alive are the mornings I brew coffee for my wife, the afternoons I walk my dog, and the nights I write a few lines in my journal. That's all my heart really needs." You see, sometimes the best way to live healthy is to live gently, to live with a kind heart, to live as though every day is a gift and we are awake enough to cherish it. So if you're living with diabetes and you've crossed the age of 50, please remember this. You don't need the heart of an athlete. You just need a heart that still wants to love to live and to keep walking with you. And on that journey, you are not alone. Dr. William Hart, will be here each week through videos like this to walk alongside you, to share, to open conversations, and to gently remind you, you are still capable. You still deserve to live well, to live deeply, and to live fully. If this video has touched something in you, don't forget to click like to let me know you're listening. Share in the comments. What made you think about your heart today? And subscribe to Graceful Health Journey so we can keep building a life of health and hope together after 50. Until the next video, I wish you and your heart peace always.